hopeful that some people are excited to come and hang out and talk comic books with me and this guy. Sorry, he's over here.
Hi.
Jason, Comics Misexplained. How you doing, man?
Good, buddy. Yeah, excited to be here, man. I'm so
Wednesday,
happy.
and we're talking.
I know, right? What are we doing? This is the pregame, right? Is that what's going on? The practice round for tomorrow?
It feels weird that it's Tuesday and there's no JD. It's like,
yeah, and also it's 9 o'clock and not 10 o'clock.
Yes,
I'm really glad I caught that memo because at the last second, I'm glad I reposted about it because I would have set my alarm clock for 9 o'clock and then I would have been scrambling. So worked out well.
Yeah. Well, we tried to be nice. I knew Comic Core is on at 7. We had Triple Threat was on at 5. So 6 o'clock seemed a little more open. So that's why we're here. And we're talking about Criminal.
Yes.
Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips, and the original trade, the first volume from 2004, 7.
I'm not sure what year this came out.
No, yeah, I checked it this morning. 2007.
Yeah, I'm
so. I hope you're all interested in some ways in some of that stuff because you're going to get some real cool insight into how this all works out. I want to say hello to some folks in the chat.
Yeah, dude.
Jack Yo and JP and J Hood Creative must have had that notification bell all set up. Perry is already lurking in my chat. That only took seconds. I thought for sure he'd be playing Zelda by now.
I thought of Perry today. I was listening to Spotify and the song came up called Lurkin, and it was by Waka Flocka Flame and I think Plies. But it was pretty. I'm like, this should be Perry's theme song. So Perry, look up Lurkin by Waka Flocka Flame. Yeah, I'm like, this is Perry's theme.
Oh, sorry. I'm trying to figure out how to do this with the thing here, but I'll do it. There we go. Perry.
Mr. Gretzky. What's up, Mr. Gretzky? Comic Jabroni?
Ooh, the Jabronis here lurking too. Thank you for coming by. Those guys just finished doing Buy or Pass on the Rod the Rican channel. You should definitely check out that show. It's easily one of my favorite shows every week. And those guys drop some serious knowledge and always remind me of books I forget that I need to pick up that week. So I guess my wife should hate them for the amount of money I spend because of them, but it's all good.
Yeah, we won't tell her that. That's good.
Cobra Comics says what's up, and Perry says that's his new theme song, so he is ready. Don't forget, Perry, I'm watching you.
DJ, all right.
Watching everybody.
The horns, you know he's serious when they got the horns out.
Ooh, so Mr. Gretzky, I've never read that either, and we were talking beforehand about how I'm just going to be straight up. We both liked this enough that we're both more interested in the work of Ed Brubaker having read this novel. So there's one for you to add to the list there, Jason.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's his first thing he kind of got popularized or known by, I believe. My first experience with him was Kill or Be Killed. And I was like, this is amazing. I caught on towards the end of that series and I had to buy the first 2 volumes to catch up to what I was reading.
Gotcha.
But I was like, this guy knows like how to write kind of like a thriller kind of story. And then I learned he's more of a detective kind of crime guy, and he's known for Criminal. I'm like, all right, well, let me check out the series. And then he had the new one that came out recently, the new series of the new arc. And I was like, big deal. Like, he's bringing it back. He's back. I was like, all right, well, I got to jump on this. Like, let me get. I'm like, this is amazing. Like, I got to get the early stuff. And I got the first 2 volumes and Take the Time Collectibles gifted you all the volumes as well.
Yeah, I was gonna shout out Take the Time Collectibles. We did on book club. Alec and then JD was joining us. We read the first issue of this new Brubaker Criminal run, and it was my first time reading anything in that criminal world. And it reminded me of one of my favorite comics, 100 Bullets, which is a huge compliment for me to even say that it's reminding me. Which I think it was about. 2007 would be about at almost a little less than 10 years after 100 Bullets got started. So it reminded me of that. I did enjoy it, but I made the comment at the time I wouldn't want to read a whole lot more of it because I'd rather go back to the beginning.
Okay, yeah.
Take the Time Collectibles heard that. That was all he needed from me, and he made me a deal. He said, "I'll send you these trades for the whole run of Criminal if you promise to read them, not give them away or sell them." And then hopefully talk about him.
That is so awesome. Jack Yo brings up Sleeper was, I guess, Brubaker and Sean Phillips' first collaboration. That's awesome. I got to read that too. And like, it makes me wonder, like, should I start from their first collaborations and then get to Criminal, or should I read the greatness that is Criminal and then go back and read the early stuff? I think I might do that since we're kind of getting the hang of these characters and trying to remember some of their names and stuff. So it's getting soaked into the world of criminals, soaking up like a sponge, and then keep tabs of everything, all the characters, because now in the newest arc, things are matching up to this.
And that's one of the things that came up again and again, because Alec on book club, he said, I've read a lot of criminal, I know most of it. And then JD was a little bit on the fence. He'd read some pieces of it, and they were both commenting that there were connective tissue kind of in that first issue, even to characters like the Lawless family and things like that bleed through all of this sort of saga.
And I hear you can read each and every single volume like it's its own separate, like, kind of comic book story,
Right.
But there's still, like, you see different characters throughout different time periods. You might see, for instance, in this one, you see an Eternal Affairs character that's a friend of the main character. And in the newest issue, him and her are friends. And when they're kids, they're playing like Dungeons and Dragons. It's just really cool. This connective tissue is amazing. I just really dig what a wide range that Baker made. It's so cool.
So this first trade, if you don't know, it's called Coward. And if you go and search, in your comic book shop in the graphic novel section, in the Icon Comics as the publisher, you'll find hopefully the first trade. And I'll blow myself up here a little bit. It's got the number 1 on the spine, so hopefully you can find it separated out. But like Jason's saying, they don't necessarily need to be read in order. You can definitely, how do I get this guy back in the screen there? There we go. You can definitely do them in the order that you choose. I'm just really glad I went and did it this way rather than just continue on with the current run, because I wanted to know the backstory.
Same. Absolutely. I'm super excited. Like you wanted to do this with me. We talked about it for a while, and I'm just really stoked to at least start chapter 1 with you. Thank you.
So, like I said, it reminds me of 100 Bullets, mostly because it's sort of this grand criminal epic saga with lots of sort of interconnected pieces. But this first story, much like 100 Bullets, is a very sort of self-contained saga, a storyline that involves one main character going through their sort of intense, dramatic beginning, middle, end. So did it remind you of anything else you had read? Were you able to say, oh, it connects to this or movie or this show?
I wouldn't say specifically it reminded me of anything, but I would say maybe like one of those, like, this famous, like, directors, I don't know. It seems very cinematic, it seems like this could be like a perfect movie, and I'm surprised no one's done this. Maybe because this kind of style or a type of story has been done so many times,
right?
Could be, but I would really like to see this story pulled off in a movie. It would be a great TV show as well, but
very much so. Yeah, I definitely agree.
I'm not sure which one I would rather see, like a TV show version or a movie, because the TV shows, you can make them hour-long episodes and make it like, I guess 5-6 episodes, make it a long movie and be cool.
Absolutely.
But I guess kind of like a Goodfellas Casino kind of feel, for me. I don't know.
That's a good point. Yeah, maybe it's obviously crime in a lot of ways, but this is not like the high-tech fancy crime. This is definitely gritty street crime.
Yeah.
The main character who you see there on the screen is named Leo. And we start with a little prologue of a bank robbery. I like the theme. This is called Coward for a reason. We kind of have a theme going through this whole book where everybody considers Leo a coward. And
right.
It's kind of the centerpiece of this particular trade.
And it's not really so much for being scared. It's that he gets away. He runs away from trouble. He's always the one that escapes the crime scene. He always has a plan. And he doesn't just walk away. They describe him as running away from the crime scene. And then later on, that coward title has a deeper meaning.
Absolutely.
Towards the end of the story.
I will say, I did kind of call that ending. It's not like it's something that they wanted you to be, I think, super surprised about.
Yeah.
But I do love the way Brubaker weaves this story of Leo to an extent that feels almost operatic, right? It's like it definitely is elevated from street level crime to be this sort of epic story with huge repercussions.
I loved that they said coward in this book. They say it once earlier in the story, but when it has more of an important impact later on in the story, it's almost like hearing like the movie title, like in the movie, you know,
Yeah.
like I like
Emphasis.
little scenes. Yeah, exactly. And then their shocks, like their face expressions when, you know, he's told he's a coward is great too. It's just great. It's awesome. I love this book.
Yeah. So we see this bank robbery at the beginning, and we sort of hear Leo's backstory. He tells this in his own words. He describes how people call me a coward because I get away, and we get to see him do it right here at the beginning. He sees a crime he's involved with turning south, like really not going to go well, and he just leaves all of his buddies behind. He just bolts and gets away. And these guys are getting shot. They're getting killed. They're getting arrested, and he's out.
Yeah, this guy in the bottom, he'll come back into the story later on. I guess, you know, one of his buddies that got shot.
As often happens in Criminal, I think, as from what I gathered, both in the new run where I read like 4 issues and this story, it seems like things always come back, that things are always woven in. And again, Alec and JD said that to me several times. Stick with it. Stuff connects.
I love his getaway plan too. He's really slick. Yeah, he had the biker kind of gear going on. This cruises right past the scene. He's just a step ahead of everyone else. He always has a backup plan no matter what, and that's what he's known for.
Yeah,
this is 5 years later. Yeah,
I think right off the bat they're trying to set us up with the idea that Leo is somebody who he plans ahead. Sure, he's not just a coward. There's more to this label, right?
Right.
He's a thinker. He's a planner. He doesn't like guns. He doesn't like violence. He wants to do his job. I think that he uses the word professional or pro.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. He's definitely a pro. He's been doing this from childhood as this kind of.
Yeah. He talked about his dad, right? And his following in some of the things that his dad did and going to do the opposite of other things that his dad did.
For sure. Yeah, this cop, it's 5 years later, and this cop busts him. And I think maybe this cop was part of that. Maybe it wasn't that original crime scene we saw in the beginning. It might have been a past job, I think maybe is what happened, is like their connection. But then you have this other partner that's just a real jerk to him.
Oh, man.
And
who I would argue is the real villain.
Yes.
If you had to have a villain in this story, it's this young black cop who is partnered with the older cop who seems to know Leo. And these two guys are very crooked cops. And it's 5 years later, they want to pull Leo in to do a job for them. Yeah, they want a criminal to do a job for them. And they have their eyes set on Leo. Yeah,
it's specifically a diamond heist. So that's what they're going to pull off. As you can tell, you know, he's still pickpocketing from people. He's stealing people's IDs earlier to sell them. To flip on like, I guess, $1,000 a piece or something like that somehow.
He's also got the great like flavor saver goatee thing going. It's like just a chin beard, like little triangle chin beard, which for me feels so 1990 something.
Yeah,
but he's rocking it. It cracks me up.
I love these just the gritty street scenes, the subway and stuff. The detectives earlier brought up that he's been doing this since his childhood, and you know, and their parents, like his parents too, have been doing this. Like, so he's just raised into it, brought up into it. And then he goes into his home life, and you see this nursing lady kind of yelling at him because I guess she's a caretaker.
So yeah,
father figure.
Leo has all of these things going on in his life. Some of them are parts of his past that he can't let go. Some of them are now like legitimate, still parts of his present that he's dealing with. I want to say hello to A Life with Two YouTubers. This is not a show for kids, so you know, watch out if you're watching with the two YouTubers. We're talking about Criminal, the independent crime drama by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. For sure. I also wanted to shout out to SpongeBob SquarePants is in the chat, and of course, Jada Creative dropping some really great comments about Criminal and the artwork side specifically.
Also, Old Book 65 and White Whale, of course. You know.
Yeah, I wasn't going to shout out Alec because he's already shouting himself out.
Is he in timeout? Is that what's going on?
No, he's already telling. Always listen. That Two Princes money dried up, which led him to a life of crime. See, look at it. He's already telling it all. Yep. He used to be a member of the Spin Doctors. He's just having a good time. So yeah, we have an elderly gentleman who we slowly learn is not actually Leo's dad, but that Leo is taking care of, who is somewhat senile and clearly dealing with a crippling heroin addiction.
Yes, that is brutal. And also he has Alzheimer's. so he doesn't know what's going on. He keeps forgetting where he is and what's happening, who's who around him. And it's just really sad. And he's addicted to heroin on top of having Alzheimer's. So it's just what can you do? So you really feel for the old guy. And Leo goes on to say, like, yeah, I wish I can get him clean, but it would put him in so much pain, and he would have no idea why that he's in so much pain.
And I think obviously there's always that like analogy for our hero that like there's an older person. Is this how I'm going to end up? Like, am I following down this road of criminal where I'm going to end up dealing with like all of these on the other side of the law problems? And slowly we learned that this old guy was a close, team up partner of his dad's, but
Correct.
then also has some connection to Leo as well.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I guess we'll probably go into that later on, huh? His connection more so. But he gets a knock on the door because like that cop was like, he walked away right away from the cop's offer about the diamond heist. He's
Yeah,
like,
he was definitely
right.
No thanks. I'm not doing this job. I don't work for crooked cops.
Right. And he's like, this doesn't feel right. I'm not really hurting for the cash, whatever. Don't need any of the trouble. I got a bad feeling. Just walks away. And the one old cop he used to be buddies with told the main, I guess antagonist.
He tells the villain cop, right?
Yeah. He's like, don't worry, I'll get him. I got a way. He'll come through. And then he gets a knock on the door, and it's just this woman, and she goes on. I guess she's the widow of his buddy that got shot earlier from that opening scene with that heist. So he kind of has this guilt. She blames him for him dying and him trusting her ex-husband, trusting this main character. So
more of that sort of past coming back to haunt him, right? He can't let go. He's messed up on jobs. I think he honestly feels guilty about the coward label. I think there's elements of his feeling like he owes something, even when he makes the smart play and gets away from a job where everybody else dies.
Yeah,
he has that guilt.
I was going to say, I feel like it's a survivor's guilt,
Totally.
Kind of like almost a PTSD thing, like a lot of soldiers get that, like, oh, why did like my friends die and I was the only one that survived, like,
And she plays on that, right? The cop uses her to manipulate Leo into saying maybe this job might be worth my time. Maybe I should look into it a little bit.
Yeah, and she was like, this never would have happened if you would have let me be part of the deal, whatever, in the beginning. Like, I would still have my husband. And he's like, no, you were like stuck on heroin too. He's like, I don't trust and work with addicts. And she's like, oh, I kicked it, I was fine. He's like, whatever. So right off the bat, like, you kind of get bad vibes. I got bad vibes with her, from the beginning. Also, like,
it's of her. And as a big fan of like film noir, like classic detective movies, detective books and comics, she is the femme fatale. There always has to be that female character manipulating the hero in some way.
Yeah, and then she walked in my door smoking a cigarette,
Right. And here she is. She's from his past, and she's got this deal she wants him to work on. And even when the femme fatale means good, it's still not going to work out for our hero. We know that that's a trope of these crime sagas.
Right. But I mean, she guilts him into it. He goes into the bar. He's like, fine, like, let me go to this meeting and see what it's about. I guess this is his old buddy's bar. Apparently this guy kind of known him since he was a kid is what I got out of it. He knows like his dad as well. So he's kind of like an old family friend. And I really love this little comic.
Go back to Dick Tracy.
Yeah. Dude, this is like pure detective noir kind of like stuff. And he's on the case.
Private Eye.
Yeah, it's so awesome. Yeah. I really wish like there was a book of these Frank Kafka. Like,
for sure. Strips. And that character, those comic strips, I want to say come up 2-3 times in this storyline. And they make very little sense, but they're a whole lot of fun to just sort of see as a throwback.
Yeah, it's like an ongoing kind of like part of the Frank Kafka's investigation of like him trying to find a dame. I guess someone hired him to find a dame, and he only has a photo of like the back of her head. Right. So he's just like, that's all he has to go on.
But he still takes the case.
Yeah, he takes the case. And I guess later on in the comic strips, like what happens? I
don't even remember.
I think he gets like arrested. Yeah, it's not important at all, but it's just like a whole nother like little small world inside a criminal, Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. So obviously the story builds in a classic crime sort of way where we have a job that needs doing, and Leo's getting pulled into this job where the cops have what they say is a load of stolen diamonds that are being transferred, I think, to a courthouse for trial.
Yes.
They are evidence, so they're in an evidence truck, and they're saying that the evidence truck is easy pickings.
Yeah.
And that all they have to do is come up with a clever way to rob the truck en route, and they'll have this incredible amount of money to share amongst them.
Right. And I guess apparently he always wants to think ahead. He wants to get the whole entire case. And so he thinks like these diamonds or whatever are connected to a certain case or whatever that might be happening in the news. And apparently there's a big like kind of case going on TV is what's happening, I guess, like in the news, kind of like an all-star crime case going on. And there's some missing diamonds or whatever. So he's like, oh, I guess I might go along with it. It's like, but I got to get a team. And
it's just enough of a hint that makes him think maybe this is legit.
Right, exactly.
Right? And of course, we've seen little bits of our cops to know they're on all sides of this thing. They're on the police side, they're on the like robbery side, and then they're also on a whole other layer criminal side. These guys they don't even pretend that they aren't bent. Even when they get called bent, they take no like offense to that.
Yeah, they know they're dirty. Like right
I don't know that I've ever seen a cop in a movie or anything where they get called dirty that don't just take offense, even if they're like, no, I'm doing this for myself, but like I'm still a good guy. These cops are not that.
I would say maybe in Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil, like recently, like it's like a whole crew of them. They're like totally cool with it.
Thank you, Rod, for saying hit the like button. And yes, you were up late, brother. I appreciate it. Good job on the Triple Threat show tonight. The buyer pass was awesome.
He recruits his buddy who's like famous for like being a scam artist.
but like a performer, right?
Yeah.
Like he can put on a show to convince you that he's epileptic.
Yeah,
he can trick you with his acting almost.
I love the part where it says he swears that people have seen him before and they forget about his performance and they pay him and some come to see him perform like every time,
right?
Because he's so good at it.
Yeah. He's got this performance he does on subway trains or wherever that makes it seem like he's got epilepsy, and then he needs money to get to the doctor's office, and people give him their money right there.
Exactly. Great hustle. I love this guy. He's just so friendly and happy. And
what a character too, right?
He's like, you want to get back to work? He's like, with you? When do we start? He's like, he's in. He's totally in. So that's great. And then he gets the detectives again, the cops, and he's like, all right, well, he's in. He's like, all right, well, let me pass on the word that he's in. And you get this like Marcellus Wallace kind of character.
This is where we get the like other side. So if the cops are sort of in the middle, like I was saying, we have this deeper criminal side. Yeah, Marcellus Wallace, if you will, character. And I don't know that I even remember that guy's name.
No, I don't either. They say it here later on. It's nothing too cool. It's kind of a lame name, but I totally got like Marcellus Wallace Pulp Fiction vibes off of this guy. I thought it was really cool. So that's who that detective's reporting back to. So now they got to like scope out the scene. You got to go through the plan. And I think there's another Frank Kafka comic here.
Yeah, there is another Frank Kafka comic in there somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
they're waiting because they're prepping this gig and they're looking at how they could rob. They're tracing the route. Where is this truck gonna go? And he's and typical Leo, he's looking for his out.
Yeah.
Right. If this goes bad over here, how do I get away? If this goes bad over here, how do I get away? Which route works best? They even test a couple theories, like, okay, what if a car breaks down? Where do they go?
I love they do practice runs with their actor buddy that has the seizures. He fakes his car breaking down. He's like, you move it, go around.
Yeah.
So they got to see where like the truck redirects, a couple times. I think they said they did like 2 or 3 times to make sure that he goes the same redirected route. So they have a plan. And then at the last minute, of course, the detectives bring in some extra guys. And they're like, who are these guys? And then they're like, who's your friend? So right away, it's like more of like,
this is where everybody's trying to manipulate this plan. You get to see why Leo likes to run, why he is this coward role that he's been given. I think he's an interesting character because he sees more of the plan than anybody else.
No doubt.
So you've got the cops who bring in a couple of their cop buddies, and they're fully loaded guns and everything like that. And then Leo's bringing in his guy. He's like, who's this? Everybody seems to be trying to control the situation that is clearly out of control.
Yes. And he's adamant about there being no guns during the heist. He wants, no killing. He's like, why do you want to carry guns? You want to shoot your brothers? I thought they're like your friends, like.
Yeah. So if we're really working together, what do you need these for?
Exactly. So everyone's like, all right. And then, he walks away. He's like, see you tomorrow for the plan. And the girl follows him. And she's like, those guys are going to screw us over, right? And he's like, yeah, I got a feeling of that as well. So we need like a backup plan. He's like, I got backup plans. Don't worry about it. You're like, everything's going to be fine. You're going to be okay. She's like, yeah, I really need the help with my kid. I'm kind of scared. She had health problems. I need this money. He's like, don't worry. Everything's going to be fine. You're going to be okay. Your kid's going to be fine too. So we got this. We'll be okay.
Yeah, the femme fatale character. She's pulling him in deeper into this thing, letting him know what's going on in her vision. But really, she's as much as she's being helpful, she's also kind of, I think, clouding his mind a little bit so that he's not on the plan like he should be.
Yeah, he's a little distracted.
Yeah, definitely. And that continues to be the case, I think, as this story goes along.
For sure.
Do we jump? I think now we jump to the actual.
So the heist is coming up. Yeah, I think right now he's transporting his old friend, the one he's taking care of.
Oh yeah, so he's got to make sure he ties up his ends because he does not want any people he cares about in the wind.
I love this little scene how the old man's still pickpocketing, working the streets, working old ladies.
Yeah,
and then he gives him little mind games. Keeps his mind active, and he's like, okay, who's the smartest, the richest man on the train? Who can you case? And he's like, yeah, if I let him, he'd take every penny out of everyone's pockets in this whole entire train. He's still got it. So then,
he's stashing this old guy that he cares for, the guy who's kind of senile. He's stashing him in one location so that he can feel comfortable enough to do the job somewhere else, right? There we are, the job.
Yeah, so he's not as distracted. His old buddy's safe. I guess the woman's going to be there on the job, smoking a cigar.
That's
nice.
my dad.
That's awesome.
He's smoking a cigar. This is a very much a classic noir, but updated for our times in the sense that there's far more swearing than Bogart would have had in the day.
For sure.
But yeah, it's just a classic kind of noir-esque tale that we got going here.
Ralph, you just need like a glass of whiskey, a cigar, and like this book in your hand.
You're speaking his language. I'll tell you, he gets the Crown Royal going. That's his.
That's awesome.
That's his fave.
Very cool.
The day of the crime, you've got Leo, you've got his buddy, the performer, and then you've got all these crooked cops involved, and they're all thinking that they've got the upper hand in this play.
And his backup plan, one of them, is he has this car that broke down. It's out of gas. Please don't tow. He put it there like half an hour ahead of time to block down a lane of traffic. So these cops parked next to it and didn't even realize, like, okay, whatever, that's fine. So they don't even know.
They're trying to clog the tunnel to make sure that that when this van with the diamonds rolls in, they've got it shut down and stopped, and they have access to it.
For sure. So they're like, all right, well, let's do it. We're at the spot we got to be. So his friend fakes a seizure. The guys in the truck come out to help him, get shocked, and then things just go nuts from there.
Right.
They're like, okay, well, here's the keys. Get in the back. Open you have the code to get into the back for the briefcase or whatever. And they get it. And I felt so sad. His buddy, like, the cops come out, they're like, police freeze. And they're the ones that are supposed to be working with them. So, like, right off the bat.
And I love here's my favorite thing about that line. It might be one of my favorite single dialogue lines. When the cop says police freeze right there. These are the cops that are in on the heist. Mm-hmm. They've just been waiting until the heist was pretty much successful to roll up. He does not notice it's a period.
Right.
And it's tiny in a giant word bubble.
Yelling. Yeah, it's like
almost like he's just saying police freeze.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
The way the way they write it into the word bubble, it's so clear this cop is like, I don't give a crap.
Yeah, I thought the exact same thing,
or not. Dude. I'm gonna blow you away.
Right. Yeah, he's not even like trying to play along.
No.
Yeah. And
so that's when they start shooting, and it starts going to heck.
Their poor buddy, the one that has the seizures, that the actor just gets shot up right away, and he's just dead. Poor Donnie, man.
Oh yeah. So his buddy, who's the actor, takes out first. Then all of them start firing like crazy. The
girl gets shot.
Yeah, the girl who's the femme fatale, she takes one.
There's Donnie on the floor dead.
And then there's actual cops showing up too.
Yeah, I'm glad she got the cop that shot Donnie. She's like, "Hey, cop!" Boom. So she got like kind of revenge right away on that guy.
Yeah, the femme fatale picks up a gun and takes out like one of the crooked cops.
Yeah, that was one of the.
Now Leo is in that place. Is he a coward? Is he able to get away, or is he going to stick this out and do this job? He's got the femme fatale. He's got the briefcase.
Yeah, he's shooting at the cops, shooting back, scaring them off. You know, they're like, freeze. He's like, ah, screw you. Shoots
but
at
he
him.
misses.
Like,
everything he shoots, he misses.
Yeah, he's a terrible shot. yeah.
It
goes to say on like later on, they're like, yeah, he's like, I'm a terrible shot. I love his plan. And he has a mini, and he says, I picked this car for a reason. And then we got Italian job. We got Italian job in this comic on top of that. So awesome. He's just going upstairs and like through alleyways. Oh, so sick. That's so cool.
He even says, I picked this car because there's this alley that I can go down and the cop cars can't follow.
He's so smart, man. He's got a plan like all the time. He's a step ahead. I love it.
And it's great until this is probably my favorite twist in the whole thing.
Yeah, not diamonds, bro.
They're not diamonds. They open up the briefcase, and the thing they've been tasked to steal is a ton of raw, uncut heroin.
Yep, tons of it. And like pure hard stuff, you know? Gosh. So they're like, well, that's a disappointment, and we're in trouble.
Take the Time Collectibles is in the chat. We are talking criminal. This is criminal reading, folks.
Take the time. All right.
We've just arrived at what I would consider to be like the big plot twist, the sort of middle of where the story takes a dark turn. And you've got so many people invested in this heroin at this point. There are crooked cops who want it. There's this villain, Marcellus Wallace kind of character, Pulp Fiction-y kind of character who clearly wants to sell it on the street. You've got our hero, Leo, who wants his money. And then you've got several drug addicts in this storyline. And
I think that's the cop that he used to be partners with is the one that got shot? That Marcellus Wallace guy took out?
Right here, he shooting the guy. Sorry, let me take that. Right here, this guy getting shot?
Right.
Yes.
That's what I thought. That's the one who kind of brought him into the plan in the first place, right?
Yes. Sorry. No. Yeah. The old guy?
Not sure.
No, that's not the old guy.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because that old guy comes in later on. Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah, this is just another crooked cop that's a partner, a friend of
that was part of that, the part of the heist.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, he tells that cop, he's like, "You better go and get my drugs, man."
I don't accept failure. And the drugs were part of a court case, right? This Marcellus Wallace kind of character, the drugs were going to be used against him in court. So he both wanted his own drug merchandise back, but he also wanted to disrupt the court case where they were going to be used.
It's so funny because he was like, I had a feeling it had to do with something with the court case, but it was the wrong court case he was looking at. He was worried about the diamond court case. He didn't even bother to look at a drug court case.
Right. Because, once he found something that fit his mental narrative, he didn't bother searching more.
Yeah. So he's just constantly kicking himself for that, too. You know, he's like, I'm so dumb. I didn't plan it all the way. But he does plan all the way. You know, he doesn't give himself enough credit, I don't think. You know, he's a smart guy.
For me, this part of the story is interesting, too, because you start getting a softer side of Leo. You see Leo as the caregiver, both to the old guy that he's been taking care of, who is there. He's got a little like sleepaway cabin space, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And he's been using that to hide the older senile gentleman, but now he's got to bring the wounded femme fatale there as well, just to have a place for her to heal up.
Yeah,
so it becomes this hideout spot. He's got all the cards, but at the same time, nowhere to play them because everybody's now hunting him.
Right. You find out this little farmland is it's part of the family's. You know, I think it was his dad's or his grandfather's back in the day.
Yeah, his grandfather's, and then because of his dad dying in jail, his dad died in jail because he killed a gentleman named T. Lawless.
Yeah.
And when his dad killed this gentleman, he went to jail for it. He then was killed in jail. So Leo's father is sort of a shining example to Leo. Don't get caught.
Right.
Right. He stands up as an example for Leo to run the right way. So it was one of those examples that Leo didn't want to follow. So now they're on the farmland that is the sort of family land.
Oh, and I think I have to blow past the next page, I believe.
Oh yeah. Well, so the femme fatale wouldn't be the femme fatale if there wasn't some lovemaking. It has to happen. Yeah.
I think it's the next page, so I'm gonna.
But you get the sense that she is still trying to manipulate him, even though that she's using now her body, because now she sees drugs.
No, it
she's
wasn't
a former addict.
Okay,
right?
So we're not on that part quite yet.
Oh my! Am I skipping ahead too far?
No, I misspoke, and I thought it was the nude scene, but it's not. Instead, it goes to the cop, the dirty cop that Marcellus Wallace's character told him that he's going to work with one of his associates, like a general kind of in his like kind of drug cartel or whatever. And
yeah,
so
this creepy fat man who is definitely has no morals whatsoever.
Not at all.
You have all these kind of cast of characters coming into the story. We don't need to spend too much time on that guy. Part.
Yeah,
but the idea that everybody, cops are looking for Leo.
Yeah, this goes in the part of the farm where like they're like, he's a bad shot, so he's like, well, maybe like a shotgun will work better for you because it spreads and not so much a pistol.
And so I think at this point in the story too, Leo starts to realize why they picked him for this job.
Mm-hmm. Kind of.
Am I skipping ahead again?
Yeah. That's with the Eternal Affairs lady.
Okay.
Yeah, but same diner though. Yeah, totally. Let's see here. Yeah, it's just this part is not nonsensical. Yeah, I think this is where they go to the cabin. Okay.
Yeah. So now you're getting to that part.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next page is the one you want to skip.
Yeah. I'm gonna skip the next 2 pages just in case. Okay. So the next morning.
Oh, this is brutal.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So he has this routine, and he never sleeps in.
This is the old man, the senile old man waking up. He's the first one up in the morning.
Yeah, and the main character, he wakes up every morning, takes care of him, and gives him his morning dose. He can never sleep ever really. So this one night he had a wonderful night with the woman, and he slept in too far. And so the old guy's walking around trying to like find his fix, and he finds that stash that they stole. And I guess, meanwhile, that woman, the femme fatale, those dirty cops break into her mother's house. And he goes and he's like walking around looking for the old man, and like passed out, and he's dead. He OD'd because it was pure uncut stuff. It wasn't stepped on at all. It was just like the strongest heroin imaginable. And so this old guy took the normal dose he would, and he just OD'd.
Yeah, so this is definitely, I would say, a moment for Leo at his lowest, right?
Yes.
Like, this is somebody that he had in his responsibility that he took very seriously, and he took his eyes off the ball for that.
Yeah, because this man was like his father, like while his dad was in jail, which was forever.
Yeah,
so
I mean, Leo was
a
really young guy when his dad went off to jail. And this gentleman was a partner for his dad and took care of him. And now the roles were reversed, and Leo blew it big time. And then, Leo goes out and he's going to bury him on the property because he thinks it's just the best way to solve all the problems. And it's something that he needs to do for himself. And he flashes back and has a little bit of a memory here.
I love this smile down here at the bottom.
Go ahead and talk about that page. That's an interesting little flashback page.
Yeah, it's just kind of him teaching them like little schemes, and it's like, oh, your wife or whatever, or women would kill us if they knew we're teaching our kids all this stuff. And he's like, oh, well, he lives in the real world, and he needs to like learn how the real world works. It's not all like sunshine and butterflies. But there's that classic smile though, because you saw that classic smile as the old man did through multiple panels throughout this comic, and it was really cool seeing a younger version of him with the same little gleam in his eye and that smirk. Love it.
Yep, definitely. And the things that he was teaching our Leo as a young guy, and then it goes on from there. And then of course we see him remembering the day his dad went off to jail, and seeing the older gentleman take him under his wing physically and just take him over.
Yeah, he's like, take care of my kid.
Yeah,
so sad.
And all of this, of course, running through Leo as he's dealing with this huge moment and this huge screw up on his part.
Yeah, he's like, all right, we'll stay here and I'll take care of it. And then you see, like, I thought this scene was going to go a lot worse because she's an ex-addict and she told him to hide the stuff before, and he did, but this was leftover stuff that the old man left out.
The brick that the older gentleman had gotten into.
Right, so she's just constantly tempted.
Oh,
it's just right there staring at her.
And it's so great. It's such a great series of panels. They're not like perfectly symmetrical. They're kind of all over the place. They're just scatterbrained like her. There's no pattern to it. It's like one of her, one of it, two of her, one of it, two of her, two of it. You know, it
zooms in on the heroine. Like, gosh,
you can feel it. It has so much dynamic movement to it.
Yeah, it feels like intense.
And then, of course, what does she do? She does the thing that he's told her not to do.
Yeah, he said,
Leo said, "Don't call home. Don't call your mom because they'll probably be listening." And of course, she is so rattled by the drugs. She calls mom, who is not alive, and calls the house and leaves a message. And
they trace the call. Yeah, they trace the call. Thankfully, the daughter's still alive. I thought she would have got slaughtered too.
Oh, so yeah, the bad guys have her kid, the one who's already got no dad because of the last crime Leo was on.
Yeah, seriously. Now, gosh.
It's just getting worse all around our main character here. Leo's falling like deeper and deeper into this hole. And again, another classic noir trait. As the story gets further along, things get more dead ends keep appearing. Everything your hero tries, it doesn't work.
It just gets more and more intense. I
absolutely,
love how
it's ratcheting up. For sure.
It's so good.
Can't see. I mean, even as a reader, I can't see any way out for Leo in all of this.
Right,
like, you can't just turn to the street and start selling this stuff. It's not like it's a diamond where he can go and hawk it in a shop. Right. And he's got people that need and depend on him all around whose lives or families are at risk. It's all just sort of ramping up more and more for him.
Yeah, and it's like, how are you going to get rid of it? Even if you wanted to sell it, like, you'd have to like get a chemist or something, and like you have to step on it and like flatten it out so it wouldn't kill someone. You know,
that's right, because they comment again and again. It's raw and it's a big deal. Yeah, Take the Time says huge shipment of books at the shop this week.
Yeah,
I saw a lot of channels highlighting the books coming out this week and talking about what a big week this is. Absolutely huge. So good luck to you. I'm sure it'll be a nice, big, healthy day at the shop tomorrow.
I love this friend that he has.
So she is an internal affairs cop who he decides, I need help on this. I need somebody on the inside. And he goes and basically spills the beans, tells her the whole story.
Yeah, she's like, why didn't you tell me sooner? Like I could have helped you out earlier.
Well, of course, right?
He's like, yeah, I didn't want you to get like involved in this, because I guess it goes into their childhood friends, how like their dads, all their fathers were like criminals and part of the same gang. They're great friends all together. And I think they all like went to jail or died together pretty much, more or less. And so then they raised the kids, in the same manner. So they all kind of did the same thing, but she went the opposite. She, kind of went to the more positive side, I would say, out of all these options.
Yeah. So you see her trying to give him the
little low down on that one
side of the law line, right? This is the straight and narrow side of it. She gives a little information on the people that are looking for him.
Yeah.
And again, I think she's the one that highlights this idea of why they picked him, right? Which I freaking love.
Yes, exactly. You want to go into that? That's exactly what you were talking about earlier.
It's one of my favorite things about the story at this point. You start realizing they didn't just pick Leo because he's good and he could do it. They picked him because they knew he would get away.
It was like right here, his face. He's like, what?
Yeah, he's like, wait, they knew that I would run and they knew that I would get away? Because that was their plan all along. They could take the drugs and make it look like Leo got away with it.
Right.
And blame it, drop all the blame, drop all the weight, everything on Leo, send the world looking for this cop-killing, thieving guy, Leo, even though they'd already put him in the ground somewhere and taken the drugs and given him back to Marcellus Wallace.
Yeah, he'd be the fall guy, and the dirty cops would get away with all the money and get paid, whatever. So, yeah, it was a great plan.
It's just that Leo actually did get away with the money and with the drugs and everything.
He always gets away. And then he says, don't worry about me. I'll survive. She's like, I know that. That's the other thing you always do. He always survives. he's a survivor.
Definitely. And you said that in the new storyline for Criminal that they're publishing currently
right now, yeah, the last issue that just came out.
They show a younger version of Leo and the cop.
Dude. So like it's about because I'm not sure if you didn't catch up recently, did you? You said you dropped it a little.
I stopped reading after the first storyline because I wanted to go back and read the earlier stuff that Take the Time hooked me up with. So I wanted to make sure this was my focus.
Was it the third issue? I think it was that brought up the Teague Lawless guy dating the girl, or like
yes.
Did you get to that part?
Yes.
Okay. Well, the next issue he was like, well, and then he meets my son, and then things go to crap, he introduces her to his son, and things go to crap. Is what he was saying. So this issue, it goes into the son and his friends growing up, and so yeah, he's friends with the main character that's Leo. In this book, Leo, and this girl, and there's one other character too, and they're playing like Dungeons and Dragons, and the main kid, Nick Lawless, I think is his name. He's just kind of ruining the game for everyone, saying like dumb answers and stuff, and ruining the campaign mission. Yeah, and they kind of go on like like a nighttime quest. Like she's like, I'm gonna go home, and then the guys are like, yeah, we're gonna go start trouble along rooftops,
So for those of you interested in Criminal, just know that these are the kind of layers that happen all through the saga of Criminal and all through the books that make up this run is interconnectivity.
Yes.
Again, it's something that I love about 100 Bullets as well, and I've always enjoyed the way that characters would leave the story and then come back into the story again later, and it's all street level stuff just like this. Mr. Gretzky, I'm very sorry to hear about your grandmother passing. That is horrible, and I hope that your family does the best that they can through something that's that painful. That's no good, buddy.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Gretzky. It's a bummer, man.
Bro, this Lurkin song makes me want to go commit a felony.
Yes, I told you, dude. I'm so happy you looked it up. That's awesome. Isn't that your main theme? That's your theme, bro. Perry, that's your theme. I'm telling you, man. I'm going to think about you each time I hear that song now. Dude, yes.
Yes, I do agree. Take the Time Collectibles. I was blown away by this first trade. Absolutely. Which is why we're basically doing a deep dive on the breakdown on this. And really, I think for me, it's a throwback. I keep saying to the noir movies that my dad and I watched, the definitely a lot of the Bogart kind of stuff, but even into the, I've got a Chinatown poster directly behind me. It's the same kind of idea, that same kind of hero character in over his head, skirting the law. There's people on all sides kind of thing.
This part was really cool and kind of heartbreaking. He said, I weighed my options. He was like, I can go into the cop's place that, that messed me over and investigate, or I can call it a night and go back to the farm and talk to Greta, the femme fatale.
Yeah, he's got these two choices. He's
and open up about his emotions, because before, she was kind of, dissing him on that. Said that he wouldn't. I think we missed that panel. I think they did that reveal. That's where they said that he was a coward, which is a shame we missed that. I should probably go back, but
that's fine.
It's kind of far back. But that earlier she was like, you're not letting me in. It's like, you're a coward. Not because you run away from stuff, but because you don't let anyone in.
Right.
And
he's closed off.
Yeah. So that was more of an impactful. I guess he had like that epiphany, when she said that, and his face was like kind of a shocked face, and hers is kind of a hurt face. And so now he's like willing to do that. He's willing to go back or go in and investigate. So instead he goes into the apartment and investigate. Or you're not sure yet. You see like
that's the cool thing,
dude. I love this, dude. It's
he's
like a movie thing.
I go back to the cabin, or do I investigate more while I'm in the city? And you see these headlights arriving at the cabin. But for us, I think it's pretty clear because of the phone call she made earlier.
Yeah.
This is not going to be Leo rolling.
Right. He's just in this cop's, apartment, and then he checks the messages, and they're like, yeah, like we found the girl, got a hint, or we got a hint on what's up, where they at. It's on a farm out in the sticks. And he knew he was like, he's running down the stairs, trying to run back.
Is killer. Where you get to see, some of these overlap moments where you see him hearing the message, jump to her with the car arriving and her thinking it's him, jumping back to him realizing I should have gone to the cabin, jumping to her realizing and seeing the guys get out of the car and how messed and screwed up she is right now.
Yeah, and he just knows he's too late. He just
which
knows.
is the great name for the next chapter here.
Yeah, too late. There it is.
Yeah. So he runs out to the cabin, knows that it's going to be way too late, but he can't not go. He's got to go, right? And of course, arrives,
brutal,
finds her dead, and sees that they left one guy waiting for him.
Who's like, what did they do to you? Like, her nails are like, there's nails through her hands. She's like nailed to the floor, and she has like bullet holes in her face. I'm not sure if it's from a shotgun spray. And I'm thinking it might be like little BBs, but geez, yeah, she got it bad.
Yeah.
Very sad.
And they left the older cop, the one who knew Leo, the one who tried to pick, the one who picked him at the very beginning. They left him to wait for Leo because it was going to be his job to bring Leo and the drugs, which they couldn't find. They searched the house, couldn't find them. They need him to bring Leo and the drugs in.
Right. And he said he's going to do it because they have her daughter. So that's some incentive for him to go through for it. So he's like, yeah, I'll get you the drugs.
So he goes out because he's got them in the back of the car. Then he parked up on the overbank. And this is when Leo starts to tell the real story of what happened to Teague Lawson.
I love it. He cuts it with that knife, that little package right there.
He cuts one of the bags of drugs, the heroin, while he's in there, in the back of the car, getting it out. But he basically reveals the shocking truth that his dad went to jail for nothing. That Leo killed Teague Lawson.
Yeah, it was him that did it. He's
not a coward. He's a killer.
Yeah, which is crazy. Like, because after reading that newest issue of Criminal, it's like, wow, okay, so like, you know that because right now it's all about Teague Lawless and the Lawless family. So it's like, man, so like this guy is the one who killed his dad.
Teague Lawson, it's Teague Lawless. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he killed his friend's dad. You know, so it's crazy. Like, I don't know.
So now you get the chance for Leo to get away. He throws the bag he cuts open right into the cop's face, and then when the cop's distracted, takes the gun from him and says, "I'm not a coward," and then he just pops him right there.
I think he said something important too. I think he said, yeah, here we go. So that's what I was always afraid of what's inside me. Yeah. So he had this like craziness inside him this whole entire time that he's never wanted to open up. But now it's open and now it's on. It's almost like that John Wick moment, you know?
Oh yeah. Well, it's the huge character hero moment when they have to own up to all the truths that they've maybe known all along, but now they have to face them.
He gets the hotel key that the cop's staying at from his pocket.
So now he knows where the cops have gone, the crooked cop and the fat assistant or whatever are hiding out. He burns the cabin down. He's like, I'm done with all this. He's got a gun now, and he rolls.
Sneaks up on this guy, dude, and this guy works him.
Yeah.
I was scared for him for a second. I was like, is this comic going to end like in the next 2 pages? I was like, oh no.
Well, and go to the top there because it kind of shows that this big fat guy, when he's maybe it's on the previous page, when he's walking out to the ice machine, he's got a huge Bowie knife in his back, like on his back.
Oh yeah, okay. So here's that page
at the bottom panel.
Yeah, right there.
You can see he's got this huge Bowie knife, and he's out to get to the ice machine. So Leo's confident. I brought a gun to a knife fight. I'm good. But he wasn't ready. The fat guy spins around, takes him out. And while they're grappling, you don't see it. Leo grabs the knife. So when the fat guy reaches for his knife's missing, Leo's got it.
The old pickpocket trick that he learned from as a kid.
Smooth, so smooth.
Second nature.
And then he talks about knowing all the spots to hit a guy with a knife to take him out.
Exactly. He just bleeds out.
Yeah. And then he rescues the little girl who, for some reason, is still alive. That makes no sense to me. These guys are pretty hardcore. I don't know why.
Yeah, they didn't really need her. Yeah, I don't know. They really didn't need her at all.
But I guess, Brubaker's hardcore, but like...
not that hardcore, yeah. He's like, that's just unnecessary.
He's not going to go that far with it, right?
Yeah. He's like, that's just pushing it, man.
So he goes back to the bar, the friend that's the bartender, and he leaves the girl there. At this point, Leo's pretty banged up. He's definitely injured, but he's still got people to deal with.
Yeah.
He hasn't found the real crooked cop, and he hasn't found the Marcellus Wallace sort of character.
He gets patched up a little bit. It says he takes 2 Oxycontins and a few lines of crank.
Yeah.
To get some energy, some hype.
Because he knows he's got to face down that evil cop.
Yeah, he pulled a GTA hospital health boost kind of thing.
Yep.
And he left the case inside the dirty cop's car with a note that says, "It's all here. Call it even and let's walk away. No harm done." And he knows the cop's not going to go for that, but he's going to go straight. He's going to lead him straight to Marcellus Wallace.
Yeah, it was the perfect bait. He doesn't know the criminal behind all of this or even where to find him, but he does know that if he leaves the drugs with that cop, the cop will take it right there.
Exactly. And he cases the place. He goes, all right, well, it looks up they're like locked up and protected mostly like for a gang or maybe the cops or whatever. And so they're prepared. They have like guards and locks on the doors and stuff. And he's like, but they're not prepared for a single person going in there. Someone who might even be suicidal
right now. I almost feel like opening up a window to watch the lurking of our lurking, but I'm not going to triple inception this.
That's triple inception.
I'm not.
All right.
Not going to break. Thank you for coming, Perry. Much appreciated, brother. You should be playing Legend of Zelda, though. I'm just going to tell you.
Totally. Dude, take the time. Killer Be Killed is amazing. I agree. That's what got me into Ed Brubaker.
And you know what? I have started reading the Gotham Central, and it's really good. I've never read much Greg Rucka aside from his current Lois Lane run, which I believe is Rucka as well. So Rucka and Brubaker on Gotham Central is more stuff that came out of reading Criminal with Alec. It was like, you should read this, you should read that. Look at all this stuff you missed. I think the only Brubaker stuff I'd read before Criminal was his Daredevil run, which is amazing.
I hear it's amazing. I got to read that.
I mean, it starts with Daredevil in jail. Like Matthew Murdock is in jail. Like because that's where Bendis left his run, which I think is amazing too.
Yep. I heard there's like there's an ongoing Daredevil thing I hear where it's like you try to leave Daredevil in the worst possible place for the next rider and see how they get out of it.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like a passing the torch kind of thing.
Totally.
It's pretty cool.
And then I've read Brubaker, if you don't know, also wrote the original Winter Soldier storyline in Captain America.
Yeah, I heard that's
really have read, and I do think is amazing.
I got to read all that stuff, man.
That's great.
Yeah, I know there's so many classic stories.
I read Brubaker superhero stuff, not a lot of Brubaker crime stuff, which is kind of the fun of this show and what Take the Time and Jason are doing for me here.
It'd be so cool to get the Marvel.
I'm sorry, I just noticed this.
What's that?
Jason's Comics with Pugs. How did I not see that until right now?
Yeah, they're the ones that are making like noises and stuff. Here's one of them.
That's hilarious. Oh my God. If you don't know who Jason is from Comics Misexplained, I put the link to his channel down below, but you should just, if you watch the Comic Core all week, you'll see him at least twice, 3 times maybe.
Yeah.
Dude is live on the Comic Core channel. Champion. And he hangs out with me on Wednesday nights when I'm available, although I missed the last one. So yeah, just an awesome guy. And I'm super glad that you were willing to do this show.
Oh, dude, I'm so stoked to do this. Yeah, I've wanted to do this for so long, and I'm so glad that like we can finally do this. And I really I've wanted to read Criminal 2 for so long, and so this really like pushed me and gave me the incentive to read it. You know, I just really had to make the time. So,
J Hood Creative said they got their start, Brubaker and Phillips, on Sleeper, which I think is another one Take the Time Collectibles gave me. I think I have Sleeper, so I can read that one. I should read that one as well. So sorry, we've reached the climax of our story.
Oh, yes.
Our hero has kind of found all the people involved with this horrible botched crime. They're all in one location. And now his job is just to get the upper hand. And we have our final Frank Kafka Private Eye comic strip here.
I love it.
They've got where the crooked cop and the Marcellus Wallace character are down in the basement of this place discussing things. Our hero lights one of their SUVs on fire, sneaks in with his gun. I think he's got an Uzi. He got an Uzi.
Yeah, he got an Uzi somewhere.
And he just starts lighting these guys up down in here. And he takes out Marcellus Wallace like right away.
The main dude, yes. So stoked to see him go down so fast for talking so much crap, you know? And then took down all like these guys.
He hits everybody at least once before he gets hit a couple times.
Yeah, unfortunately, the bad cop gets him. It was a huge bummer. You're just like, what? No. I was so bummed, but at the same time, I almost felt it was expected. You know?
Yeah, I mean, you want him to live. You feel bad for him, and he's finally doing the right things, and he's killing the worst bad guys. You know, but at the same time, you know, he's not fully paid for his own debt.
Mm-hmm.
which is, again, a great crime noir kind of trope.
For sure.
The hero has to really go through the ringer, and usually they come out almost worse than they go in.
It's always like the jerk, like evil person who always like gets away too. It's like,
absolutely.
God. So that bad cop gets away.
Bad cop gets out of the place. He goes out to call for help. He's left all the dead guys in the inside, and all of a sudden you hear him say, "What does he say at the end there?"
It's like, what the?
And all of a sudden, Liam is a survivor, right?
Yes.
Leo pops out the door. He's the survivor. He pops a couple more in them, and they're both slumped to the ground, dying, bleeding out. And they have this great dialogue scene. I want you to read that. I love that scene.
All right, let's see. It's like there's a siren in the distance, like a song calling me home. Like,
no, I meant the when they talk to each other. The cop.
Oh, okay. Before the
Leo and the cop.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. It's like, Jesus, why? Why didn't you just run? It's like, broke too many rules, and those are your cigarettes. You burned her. It's like, oh, I was he died.
They don't even get a resolution, but you get Leo saying, those were your cigarettes. I know your freaking cigarettes, buddy. You burned her.
Yeah.
You did all that crap. So I was coming for you. It was definitely going to go down like this. You went too far. You broke all the rules. And he has those rules. That's a big thing for Leo is the rules.
And like you figure he dies, but like you don't know, like he could survive. You know, I like to think that he lived, but at the same time, like it's a better story if he dies, I think, and just call it done.
Well, but, and this being Criminal, I would not be surprised to see him either pop up as a character later on in his life, or to get a flashback to an earlier story involving Leo.
You're right.
That's covered. Yeah, and I picked that for the thumbnail for tonight.
Awesome, that's
because it is just a gorgeous piece of art. I might actually just do the full screen layout on some of these. Look at that.
Issue 2. God,
just some beautiful artwork. Absolutely cool. Again, look now. That last one reminds me of Heat. You know,
this one.
Go back to one more.
Oh, no, sorry. Did I like a best? Sorry. This one.
That one.
Yeah.
Even the outfits it looks like the De Niro outfit when they're robbing the armored car.
Totally.
Like some of that, it just looks straight out.
Yeah, I think this one's my favorite cover.
Really cool stuff, man.
And then 5.
Yeah.
Gosh, so cool.
Those painted pieces are just absolutely cool.
Volume 2, Lawless. So I'm really excited to like read about the Lawless family.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining it's all about Teague Lawless again, you know?
More than likely, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's him on the cover of this one, The Dead and the Dying, I believe.
Teague.
But I'm not sure who that is on the Lawless cover.
I don't know. So there are several trades that you can get if you want to get in on Criminal, if you want to read some of these stories. There's lots of them out there. Your LCS will probably have a bunch of them. I'm going to jump back to us again. Look, we're big again.
Yay, we did it.
There were several great comments, people talking about Sleeper. Jack Yo mentioned that there was a prequel to Sleeper called Point Blank, sorry.
Point Break.
Phillips, not Point Blank.
Phillips
isn't the artist, and then they said don't forget Velvet, which is a solid series apparently, according to Take the Time. He says the single issues had a lot of good back matter too.
Yeah,
about film noir, Brubaker's current reads and watches.
That's the incentive to buy single issues of Criminal, because they have stuff that you can't get anywhere else. Like even if you buy the volumes, they're not collected inside the volumes.
Yeah, I remember. So it's like the editors, notes from the editors kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, and like little short stories and things like that too. Yeah, super cool. It's so much incentive to go and find those. I wish I could have been picking this up from the get-go.
So yeah, it's not a terribly old series, 12 years back, but obviously a lot of comic has been written in that time. So if you go hunting for some of these, there's definitely some. I don't know that any of them are insanely priced. I don't know that they're like several $100s. I'm sure that they're not cheap, but I'd be curious to know where they are price-wise if anybody in the chat knows. But I know that there's no plans for like movies or TV shows or any of that. So they're not spiking for media reasons right now. And take the time talking about those bonus materials as well. So our goal with this show is every so often to carve out a little Brubaker time, get together for some Criminal reading and go through these trades for Criminal one by one and kind of break them down. Long term, maybe this becomes we pick up an artist or something, a writer that we want to get into, and we can break down their stuff. Or maybe this is the Brubaker show, and we're just going to go through and we're going to get into Gotham
everything,
Central,
dude,
or Winter Soldier or something.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, man, I'm down for whatever.
All
I'm just
of that sounds good
so
to me.
stoked.
So there's no plan for when the second episode of Criminal Reading will happen. If there's a Brubaker story that we didn't even bring up that you're like, oh, you guys definitely should have read this or talked about this. Obviously, I'm pretty new to Brubaker. So besides Daredevil and Winter Soldier, this is it.
I'm only Kill or Be Killed, and this is it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Besides Gotham Central, which I just started, that's pretty much it. And he's clearly got a lot of story that he's written.
Yeah, he's so good. I love this guy so much. And apparently he's a co-writer on a show on Amazon Prime. I think it's called Too Young to Die Old or something like that. Nice. Yeah, it just came out recently on Amazon Prime. I want to say like a month or two ago. And I guess he co-wrote it, but like in one of the back of one of the recent criminal issues, he talks about it. And he's like, yeah, it's like I've done this a couple of times, been co-writing for some shows, but my biggest regret and what I want to do in the future is do it solo, like, because there's always creative differences,
right?
And things you wish you could have changed but had no control over. And I imagine the show is probably pretty good, but I don't think it'll be as good if he does it all himself.
Right.
He's just a master of crime.
And I think that's the hard part of those collaborative mediums like movies and TV is it's not one person's vision. There's always a bunch of people putting their fingers in, producing and editing and whatever else. Versus comics, which in some cases, might just be a couple of people's input really making it happen.
Yeah,
artist and a writer, or in some cases, it's one person doing that.
Yeah, I'm sure it's probably more difficult writing stuff for like Marvel or DC. As opposed to your own image.
Oh, for sure,
stuff,
absolutely. So a huge shout out to everybody who hung around, and obviously the show is sponsored by Take the Time Collectibles.
Yeah,
appreciated, brother. Huge shout out to you guys, and thanks. And if you don't know their channel, I'll link them below as well. But go over to Instagram; they've got a great Instagram there for the shop back east. I want to say it was back east on the East Coast there. So you can definitely check them out for great books, what's hot, what's new, and pick up some cool stuff. Jason, you got it. Besides tomorrow night when we're hanging out again.
Yeah.
We'll see else tomorrow. Coming up this week?
Yeah, see us tomorrow on Comic Core Unlimited. It's always a good time. Tomorrow's my day off, so I got to read comics all day. It's gonna be fantastic.
What a day!
Yeah, totally. And then Friday we're at the end of August, so
yeah.
Okay, so this past couple of Fridays I've been on Comic Core on Fridays, but that's going to change upcoming this month. Next day will be Sunday on the SNB network,
which is almost every Sunday when I'm going to the grocery store.
Yeah. I know. I think this Sunday show, it's a show called Comic Cast. It's very similar to Comic Core Unlimited, but some books are like kind of talked about specifically, where assigned books, to talk about independently. But I think this one coming up on Sunday, it might be like around 5 or 6 o'clock. So different time
later.
And so, hey, maybe catch us there if you're not doing anything. And then Monday, dude, for Monday, I'm not sure if you caught the story Comic Core this past Monday.
I did. It's in transition. Lots of
one, dude.
Always
evolving, always constantly changing, evolving. So we're thinking of doing all 90s. It's a whole 90s theme. So totally story Comic Core. Cowabunga, dude.
That'll be awesome.
Radical. But we're all about gonna have foil covers and stuff and all that goodness. So hopefully that'll work out nicely on Monday. So
awesome. So right now we're gonna get off the air the Comic Core Golden Guys show. If you're like Golden Age comics, that show just got started with our Unlimited buddy JD. If you want more of all of us, you'll see us tomorrow on the Unlimited show at 7 o'clock my time, 10 o'clock Eastern. So I hope to see you guys all then. Tomorrow also we have Marvel 1000 on Book Club. We got Rod the Rican joining us.
How are you guys going to cover that?
I have no idea.
It's like a million stories, right?
It's huge. It's huge. I didn't even realize it's like $10 too.
Yeah, dude, it's $10, and
It's
there's
insane.
like I think every page it's its own individual story, and it's like super thick.
I don't know. I think we're just going to be absolutely all over the place. It could be an absolute riot.
Off the rails? All right.
It could get very off the rails.
Cool.
Absolutely. But it'll be fun. And Rod the Rican's never been on the book club.
Oh, no way.
Tear it up. Yeah.
Dude.
I could have sworn he'd been on, but he's been on my show for a bunch of other stuff.
Okay.
And then, he was supposed to be on a few weeks back, but he had eye problems, and he was at the eye doctor, and he couldn't even see, so we couldn't get on. But now we're making up for it. So
stoked to see Rod. I love Rod.
Absolutely one of the best people in this community. Yeah. So thanks everybody for hanging out in the chat. Thanks, Jason, for being up for this, because this is a blast. And I'll catch you guys all again soon.